Hey everybody, I'm Jack. Welcome to Raw Tropical Living for another episode today. It's Monday here in the South, start of a new week, or if you're in the U.S., it may still be the weekend for you as it is Labor Day today and people are celebrating to finish the summer. I remember back in the day where that was like the cutoff point. We picked up our school schedules on Friday before Labor Day. You had Labor Day off, and then boom, that was the end of the summer. School started. Now they've already, I think they started like 3 or 4 weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago in this area. But anyhow, today I want to talk about most people fail at a raw food diet because what are the becauses? Guys, I do videos every day, so if you haven't already done it, I'd appreciate if you'd go down there and hit that subscribe button now, and then immediately go and click on that little bell and check send notifications, or you probably won't stay subscribed to the channel. So many reasons why I like to do these videos from time to time from different angles, just different thoughts come in my head, or also too, these videos are like, not everybody. When you do videos every day, it's not like I can think, okay, well, I did one of these before, bam, that's it. New people constantly coming and going, and those don't necessarily get seen. So let's see if we can't come up with something a little bit different today. One thing is overthinking. Overthinking. I got my notes down here. You guys know I always refer to notes so I don't forget anything. The person that has to know everything, that detail person, and you can almost tell like they're waiting to get started. And they just infinity of questions, well, what about this? Well, am I going to miss this? Am I going to do that? No, just stop eating the damn standard American diet and do it. Figure it out as you go. You're not going to kill yourself eating raw food. You're dang sure not going to kill yourself at least moving over towards that way and eating high raw and eating whole plant-based food. So, overthinking it. And I've mentioned that a number of times before because I have to claim that in other areas of my life. It's kind of a putting off mechanism. It feels like we're actually doing something, but we're not doing anything. We're kind of preparing to do, which is not doing. And I see that in so many people, they're just putting it off. And it's almost like this mentality, okay, well, I'll do this thing when I know every single aspect of it. You're not going to know every single aspect of it, so just jump in the water and, kind of learn how to swim as you go. That might not be a good analogy, though. I wouldn't recommend just throwing somebody in the water to teach them how to swim. Not eating enough. I just talked about that, yesterday, the day before. Probably the number one mistake people make, even on a plant-based diet a lot of times, is just simply not eating enough. You won't listen. You hear the people. You watch people getting results. You hear people, yeah, the fruit's not going to make you fat. The carbs aren't going to make you fat. But there's something in the brain that's still left over from all the diets you've done in the past and all the programs and all the health systems, things you've done to try to get healthier. It's always been about cutting back. Well, let's cut back. We should eat less of this. Oh, I'm hungry, but no, I'm going to have discipline and not eat. That you're not going to succeed on this lifestyle if you're hungry. Listen, I don't know how many times I need to say that. I don't know how many different ways I can say that, but you are not going to succeed on this lifestyle constantly being hungry. You can get through a hungry period. I'm not saying like if you're, one morning you don't have a snack or something with you and everything doesn't click. I'm not saying you can't do it short term, but long term, making it like constantly being on a diet, constantly being restricted is not going to work. You've just got to wrap your head around that, and you've got to trust you got to break through that psychology of I can't eat this much. The whole plant-based foods are a lot less calorically dense than the foods you're used to eating on that standard American diet. So it's just a mind trick. You think you're eating so much more, but calorie-wise, you can eat and eat and eat and eat. So keep yourself full and satiated. Not not having recipes, not knowing how to make good tasting food. And when I say not recipes, you know, I'm not a huge recipe person, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple. There's recipes, there's 3 ingredient combinations out there that are delicious. One right off the top of my head is my mango red pepper dressing. Just those 2 ingredients is good. You know, just very, very simple. Mango, red pepper, but you put in some smoked paprika. You put a little bit of Bragg's in, gets a little bit of that salty taste. Sometimes I put a little chili powder in there. You want a little bit of creaminess, a little bit of fat added in, put a little tahini. But that tastes really good, and it's really simple. So the point being is not like you have to learn a bunch of complicated recipes, or you have to go buy a bunch of recipe books. Although that's one thing I do recommend spending a little bit of money on, is getting yourself 1 or 2 recipe books that you really like. Look through those recipes and be realistic about yourself. I've done that throughout the years. I see books and I see recipes all the time, and I'm like, yeah, that looks really good, and I'd eat the hell out of that if somebody made it for me. But realistically, I start looking, okay, it's got this ingredient, da 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 da. It's got this step, it's got this step, you got to do this. Oh, this ingredient's actually something that's not all that easy to get. It's a pretty recipe, I appreciate the recipe, I'm not going to make it. Whatever it is, whether you come up with your own stuff, whether you buy a recipe book or you get recipes online, that has to be taken into account. Is it realistic for you? Is this something you would make often? Is it something you would make often? Is it something you enjoy? And is it something you could see yourself being one of your core recipes? Could you see eating this, you know, once a week or something, maybe, you know, or on a regular basis? And you build a repertoire like that. That's why I'm saying you don't need all that much, but it has to be something, once again, it has to be something that's tasty to you. I see this with newbies a lot. I saw this sometime over the weekend. Somebody new to the lifestyle, and God bless them. Like, you know, they're working on it. They're working their way through it. They're trying, but some of the combinations were just like horrid. Just kind of like, okay, I'm raw now. Let's mix some vegetables, or let's mix up some fruit and random stuff. Learn a few tips and tricks. People like Melissa's Raw Food Romance, Tanny Raw, they kind of have you'll see certain patterns if you watch them enough, and similarities, like different types of flavorings they use in all their recipes to get a little bit of a little bit of saltiness, a little bit of this texture, a little bit of that. Another one that's a go-to of mine, and I've mentioned it a lot, you can search it, I think Alyssa's got it on her channel, is her French dressing. See, that's another one of those staples. When I'm talking about this recipe thing, is you need to have your staples. And honestly, you probably would do best coming up with your own staples. Maybe that'll take you a little bit. Maybe you have to, you know, use other people's recipes until you kind of get that pattern and you can create things. But if I think back through the years, my top staples, and they're not that sophisticated, and I don't know how many other people would like them, but my top staples are things that I have come up with like that. I mean, other people have done that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not reinventing the wheel with mango and red pepper dressing, but what I mean is I came across that myself. I stumbled across making that. I didn't see somebody else doing a version and try it. But there's a lot of little things like that. My mango and coconut that I used to do in Costa Rica, mango coconut curry. See, things like that were all things that just were very specific to me. And that's what's important right there, because unless you're writing a recipe book and you're trying to appeal to masses, you're the only one that's important. As long as you write the recipe, even if it's the most weird recipe in the world and you like it, I'd try to stick to decent combinations, you know. That's what you need. But you have to have, to sum it all up, you have to have food that tastes good to you. You're not going to discipline your way through on just this food that's good for you but doesn't really taste good. I like everything I eat. I think there's a misconception sometimes when I show stuff on Instagram, whether it's how few things I eat, how simple I eat. Everything I eat, I thoroughly enjoy. I'm not just like, okay, let's just get this meal out of the way. And one I've talked about before is being stubborn. Being stubborn, insistence on going higher raw than you're ready for. Yes, you've bought into all the raw is law and it must be raw and cooking denatures the food and I want to jump in feet first. Fine, all well and dandy, but your approach is not working. If it works, go raw overnight. But there's people that are just like they're stuck with the dogma. I must be raw and I must be raw now. And they're doing anything. They'll stay raw by any means necessary, which normally means the nuts and the fat. Heavy nuts and fat. Every time I mention that, somebody peeps in there like you're trying to take it away. Well, it's good to, yes, it's good to eat healthy amounts of fat. That's not what I'm talking about. Listen a little bit. What I'm talking about is using fat to make the lifestyle work. You should never use fat to make the lifestyle work. In your head, you decide for yourself. You decide what's your level of fat. I like to keep it low fat. I'd like to recommend around that 10%. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and argue, okay, but should you? Okay, some people go 15. Even if you're going 15, 18% fat, you can't eat as much things as you're thinking of. When I see these gobs of nuts in recipes, I'm like, you're out of your effing mind if you think you're staying even under 20% fat by adding a half a cup of cashews in constantly. Now I use nuts. I'm working on a recipe now. I'm about to go get some walnuts and there's going to be some cashews in there, but those are little bits, special times, all in a certain proportion. So, you know, once again, I have to kind of qualify things that I'm not saying never, not saying this or that. I'm just saying, like, if you have to use fat to make this lifestyle work for you, it's not going to work long term. Or either you're just going to stay on a fatty version of raw food diet and you'll get benefits because it's plant-based and it's raw, but you're not going to get the same healing benefits to the body when you're just scarfing down all that fat all the time. So get the ego out of it. I'm not saying that don't even strive, don't work towards becoming fully raw if that's what you want to do, but you know, it's not going to kill you to take 2, 3, 4 months, 6 months to get there if you're solid once you get there. So anyhow, just a bunch of random thoughts from me on various mistakes and reasons why people fail. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up and we'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.